Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by Dylan Zampa, of course, one of the finalists for the Kulwicki Driver Development Program, or I should say again. Of course, if he was a finalist last year. How's it going, buddy?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Okay, so of course you're part of this program again. If you followed this program, you probably already know. Of course, Dylan's a left coaster. It's been a lot of races out on the West Coast, but let's talk about how you got into racing a little bit.
Yeah. So pretty much my grandpa started building race cars, and they started racing out here at Altamont Speedway, really popular racetrack. Sadly, it closed down, but he started building race cars, and he actually built a quarter midget for my dad. And pretty much he got my dad into racing. I think my dad started when he was 8, and my dad raced all the way up to super late models. He actually raced the original Southwest Tour series out here on the West Coast. And I think he quit racing in 2006, I think, and started racing with my brother. And he raced quarter midgets. And then I think right when I turned 5, me and Logan are about 3 years apart in age. So when I turned 5, that's when I started racing quarter midgets. And I just from there, I've been going up. I raced quarter midgets for 13 years, won a couple USAC titles, championships, and a lot of track records.
Okay, so of course Logan Zampa is your older brother. And so, who also raced and was also a semifinalist in the program. To be a part of this again has got to feel pretty good. Of course, you're doing something that your brother never had a chance to do. What do you think this might do for you as you try to progress in your racing career?
Well, I hope this program gets my name out there a little bit more. Definitely last year doing it definitely got my name out there a little bit more. A lot of people recognize me when I go places, and it's just like the best feeling when people are like, oh, you're Dylan Zampa, you ran for the Kulwicki Driver Development Program last year. So it just feels really good to have that happen. But, I'm excited for this year. I'm excited what the challenges are going to bring. We're ready for any challenge that steps in our path. And I'm just ready for the season to start.
So I know a lot of people, like, you're 18 years old. A lot of 18-year-olds would be, already, if you're trying to pursue a stock car career, you'd probably already be in the truck series, Xfinity series, or maybe we'd see some 18-year-olds competing full-time in the ARCA Menard series. I know obviously that's not the case with everybody. And it's not due to talent. Obviously, if you've followed racing for a long time, you know how this business works. In terms of that, when you look at where you're at, I know you guys operate. You guys got a big schedule, a lot of races. You don't have the biggest budget, but you somehow, some way make it work.
Yeah, so it's just all my parents pretty much. Me and my dad, we do side jobs on the side for a little extra money, but I'm just super thankful for my parents. Pretty much they're the ones that do everything. I have some pretty big sponsors also that help. Anderson Logging's like one of my biggest ones. Sierra Speed Technology is the one that actually gave me my race car, the one I'm currently racing. So that was like a really big gift from him. And he's actually racing in the Winter Showdown this weekend. So rooting him on, and just glad to see that my sponsors just believe in me and are giving me all these nice gifts, and just I want to make them happy and make their company proud.
Of course, you are racing this weekend. Kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so we're racing down at Kern County Raceway in Bakersfield. It's a half-mile track. I'm not racing the supers, but I'm racing the Pro Late models, which is a little 8-inch 970 Hoosier tire with a little 602 crate motor. Can't touch the motor when you get it in the package. Got to go right in the race car. So it makes it budget friendly with the tires. It makes the racing really even. Everywhere we go, it like qualifying, like the top 10, top 15 are all within 2/10, a tenth anywhere we go. So it makes racing really good. Really racy. The tracks we go to, the tracks places are just super nice facilities. Take really good care of them, and just really excited for this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I know you've put in a lot of work this weekend, and I know that it's what I've learned trying to figure out this racing kind of thing is racers are racers. You work on your own cars, and when you're not racing, what are you doing? Working on your own cars. Something about you is I've always, you're working out of a one-car garage, in at your home in California. So what's that been like to figure out how to work on these cars and figure out how to kind of get that little feel of it?
It feels really good. It really comes in handy when you work on your own race cars, when you're at the racetrack and your dad's explained a lot of stuff to you about setup stuff also. So when you're at the racetrack and you're in the car and you feel that type of way through the corner, off the corner, you can really break down what the car is doing, and your dad and you can come up with a solution to make the car better. So just thanks my dad for taking the time to make the car as fast as it is with the little budget we have. I mean, we compete in the top 5 every single race. So I'm just super thankful for my dad and my mom, pretty much.
Okay. If you get an opportunity, the thing is, I know that everyone's like waiting for their big break. Everyone's waiting for, I know that a lot of people like that. Where do you want to go? Like, where do you want to be? Are you comfortable doing this for, I don't know how long. I know you have big aspirations and big goals, but sometimes those goals can't be met, or maybe not able to achieve them due to a lack of reasons. But where do you see yourself? Where do you want to go?
Well, hopefully before, right when I turn 21, I hope I can make it in between 18 and 21. I hope I can make it to ARCA or even the Truck Series by 21. But I know racing big time is a lot of money, and currently we don't have a lot of money to go to ARCA or even super late models. But to me, my big break is on May 21st at Irwindale Speedway. I get to race a super late model, and I feel like that's my big break. Never raced one, never even sat in a super late model. So I'm excited for May 21st. I'm doing a doubleheader that weekend. I'm racing the pro late model mine, and then I'm racing someone else's super late model. And it's a really good team, and they run up front everywhere they go. So I'm really excited to race with them, and just excited to race as many races as we are this year.
I've never asked a driver. Well, I haven't. I think I have, but I've never asked a driver this in a while. Are you an emotional guy when you come in to win, or when things don't go your way?
I definitely get emotional, but I know that with all the social media that there is now, I try not to show too much emotion. If I wreck out or I get a bad finish, I try to just put on a happy face and just thank all my sponsors and everyone that helped me. And when I win, though, I try not to cry, but it gets really emotional with the amount of work me and my dad put in, where we work, how we work, with the equipment we have. You get a little tear-eyed. But on March 5th, we won at Roseville, and we've been doing really good there all last year. We won 7 races there. So to win there, I just got as emotional as I would if I won 15,000 to win. It doesn't really matter where I go. If I win, me and my dad are probably going to cry together.
That's awesome. Okay. Take me back to your biggest win that you've ever had.
So I think my biggest win currently is in 2019, my first pro late model debut at Madera Speedway. Qualified second. My brother qualified third that race. So our cars were really, really fast. Pulled the 5. My brother pulled the 9. And I stayed up front majority of the race. I feel like I had the best car that race out of everyone, and just kind of was riding in second. And then they came over on my dad's radio and said that there's rain coming, and we weren't even at the halfway break yet. It was a 100-lap race. We were on like lap 40. I was in second, and there was a caution. It started to drizzle a little bit, but they were like, just keep racing. And actually, third and first place took each other out going into turn 3. And my brother actually got the lead because I checked up on the outside, and we started side by side, and me and my brother raced till lap 50 side by side. And I edged forward on like the last lap and won the first race, my first ever pro late model race. So I think that's my biggest accomplishment. I wouldn't say it's because I beat my brother. It did feel pretty good to beat my brother, but it was my biggest win because we worked so hard in the off season getting the pro late model ready. So I think that's my biggest win.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing is, it's like when you think about this a long time. How do you get mentally ready for a race?
I like to so before qualifying, I like to go in the motorhome in the back on the bed, and I like to lay down and just kind of close my eyes and just think about crossing the line, just finishing the race first.
Yeah.
And just imagine me crossing the line. And I think that's just how it gets me ready. And I get in the car. Once I put those belts on, it's game time. I don't think about anything else. I think about crossing the line first, beating every other person on the racetrack. And I think that's what makes me different from everyone else. A lot of other people like to listen to music. I've tried that before, but I felt like it didn't get me in the groove to race. So I found that out after I did that one race, and I started winning, and I kind of just keep doing that every race I go to.
Awesome. Everyone always has their own little niche thing that they like to do before races, which makes everything always interesting for people like me to find out. So that's one of the perks of the job, I guess, for me. Go back to, did you think you'd have the success that you've had so far, like when this all started?
When we first started getting into the junior late models, my brother was in the pro lates when he was 16, and I just started racing the junior late models when I was 14, I think. So he's always had pretty good success. Always was a top 5, top 10 car with the old car he used to have. But once we built my car, I knew that my dad was really good at what he did. He used to race crew chief his own car back when he raced supers. So I had really high confidence going into our first race. I didn't give the result that I wanted to give to my family, all my sponsors. In my debut junior late model race, we finished third, and that was in 2017. But I only ran one race that year because I was still racing quarter midgets at the time. And so come 2019 off season, me and my dad worked hard on my car, trying to afford to get new and the best parts you could get on the market back in 2018. So, and then we came out to the first race of the season, and we won that race, passing Jesse Love with 10 to go. So it felt pretty good to win that race. And I knew after that race that I had the best crew that I could ever have. They always worked really hard. I have family friends that actually miss Thursdays and Fridays of work just to go to the racetrack with us. So I'm super thankful for all my family friends, my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, just everyone that helps me.
That is so cool. And that, I know that you are an emotional guy, and I'm surprised you said all that and, thanking everybody and doing that without crying. So kind of going into that, and I know this may do it. what has your family meant to you? Obviously, that's a simple question, but it's more of like different things.
Yeah, I mean, my family, they devote a lot of time into the racing, especially my mom. I mean, she's the one that cooks the food at the racetrack. She's never really able to watch practice or qualifying. She's usually always making lunch, making breakfast for everyone, making sure everyone is hydrated. And sometimes it's sad to see that she can't watch practice or something, but she's always up there for the race. She's always the number one fan. She's always the mom screaming in the stands. She's the loud one at the racetrack. But my dad too. I mean, he comes home from work. Just me and him just go out, work instantly right when he gets home. I get home from school. But it's definitely sad to see that like they take time away from hanging out with their own friends to just work on the race car. So just super thankful for my parents, man. They're the ones that got me started, and they're the ones that keep me going. They're the ones that are there when I wreck out. They're the first ones there to tell me to keep my head up, keep my chin up, just keep pushing. You got next race. So I'm just super thankful for them.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Yeah, wow, I can't believe I've learned so much about you in this in this portion of it. Is there a time, and this is the last thing, tell me about a time where you tell me about a time where you just where you had your best moment, maybe what's the biggest moment that you've kind of learned from, kind of looking back at your racing career so far?
It's definitely when you have a good race, you finish top 5, you win the race or something like that, and you come to the next race and you're fast through practice and qualifying. You're a number 1 car. You're a winning car, and you come to the race and you kind of step on your leg a little bit, and you make a mistake, and it takes you out of the race, either wrecking, spinning out, something like that. And it really shows that like when you go back to the shop and you really refocus, you get back in your groove, you bust out on work on the race car maintenance, all that, you come back to the race and you just dominate the whole weekend. I think that really shows that putting the time and effort into taking a mental step back and just rethinking over all the steps, what you could have done, what you could have done better, what you could have not done, and going to the next race and just being 110% better than you were before. I think that really showed me that every single race I need to give it my best, even if it comes out bad, either bad luck. You come back home and you work and you just think about all the stuff you could have done better or all that stuff.
How are you like going back and I know that I said that was the last question. I lied a little bit, but how do you as I try to explain what I need to say here, how do you handle a bad race? It's a simple question, but it's got a lot of parts to it because everyone handles them so differently. How do you handle it without, I mean, you can be angry, you can be upset. That's basically everything when it comes to maybe not having the best race. But
yes,
how do you handle that? It just at a personal level. It's just like, it's different than people coming up and saying stuff to you. Because you don't know what you're thinking after that. You may not be thinking something. You may be thinking all these different things. So.
Yeah. So this actually happened in 2021 during the Kulwicki Driver Development Program while it was going on. We had a really fast car. It was at Roseville. We had a really fast car all weekend, top 1 P1 in practice qualifying, and we started 8th in the first race, and we came through the back and we won the race. And I had really big confidence going into the second race. We were starting 8th again, and it was a 35 lap race, and they're twin races. So I knew I had to make quick work and get through the field, but I was going way too hard in the beginning and made some contact with the guy, and he lost control, and I went to the high side and got wrecked. But that really bummed me out. I definitely was angry, but I knew I had to regroup at the racetrack and put the car back together so I could roll it in the trailer and go work on it when I got home. And a lot of people would come up and say, don't worry, you got it next race. And I took their advice, and we came out to the very next race, and we dominated that race. We won both with we qualified P1, was quick time or second quick in every single practice session. So with a bad race, I try to regroup at the racetrack. I try to look at the car, and I try to just think that it's fixable. You can fix it, get back out there the next race. So that's how I regroup with a bad race.
Good stuff there. All right. Well, I think that might be, I have more, but we'll probably discuss it in a later episode when we have you on, maybe again in a few weeks. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and good luck to you this weekend at Kern, and maybe we'll have you on again next week if it's a good result there, bud.
All right, sweet. Thank you. I'll plan on it.
All right. Well, of course, stay with Dylan and the rest of the Kulwicki Driver Development Scholarship Development drivers throughout the 2022 season.